Googling someone you just met on OK Cupid can go one of two ways. Either it vaguely reassures you that they're not into something you find really embarrassing, or it lights up your fight or flight response system and sends you running for your life in the opposite direction as fast as you can. This is a story about the latter. Okay, I know those are two really extreme reactions, but it's how you react to your own reaction that also counts. This story is also about that. I'll be the first to admit that my efforts at finding companionship post-divorce through online dating have been somewhere between tepid and lukewarm. I hadn't dated since 1984. But when Michael's profile popped up, I was interested. He seemed to have a good sense of humor. He wrote in complete sentences. He was attractive. I hit the like button and hoped that we would match. We did. Next came text messages, phone calls, FaceTime. I determined he did have a good sense of humor, and we decided to meet near but not at my house for a walk. We seemed to connect. As the day approached, I began to feel bold, and I decided to Google him because of course I should. Why not? Everybody does. What could possibly go wrong? He seems like such a great guy. When the police report bearing his unusual name popped up, detailing his arrest for a drunk driving accident that shut down both sides of the interstate for several hours, followed by another article about a man with his name being arrested for violating parole, I had the most fascinating full-body brain response courtesy of my flight or fight response system. Now, that, as you all know, is designed to keep us alive when it senses our very lives are threatened. It sends a message to our muscles to either run like hell, fight like Michelle Yeoh, or stand still and hope you've become completely invisible. My father was an angry alcoholic, and I had a lot of experience in getting out of the way or becoming invisible. So you can imagine when I found out this information, the past collided with that moment, and my whole system just lit up, and I heard in my head these exact words, and I swear these were the words: run fast now. Get out of Massachusetts. It doesn't get any more flight than that. And the interesting thing is, there was no imminent threat to my life. I mean, this was just brought on by a thought. But that flight or fight response system doesn't always discriminate between a thought and a wild boar charging straight at you. So once I calmed down, I found myself really interested in this reaction that I just had. But I still had to go on a walk with this guy. What to do? Well, I reasoned that we would be in a public place. He wasn't coming to my house. He was known to law enforcement. It had been several years since that accident. Maybe he was in recovery, and I should give him the benefit of the doubt. So I met him. We went on our walk. We talked. He brought his dog. He seemed perfectly fine. I was a nervous wreck. I was not myself. We did not connect. But I found myself continuing to think about that response of mine, and I shared the story with my therapist. Eric listened, and then he said very quietly, well, sounds like you need to embody that impulse to run. How about the next time you're on your walk, you just try that? Well, I love to walk. It's my thinking and exercise time, but my running days are kind of over. But I thought, okay, I'm up for this. So I'm on my walk, and I've decided that I'm going to do my running on a strip of land right next to the Connecticut River as it flows south out of Massachusetts. Also the same exact spot where Michael and I had walked the day before. Now, as I'm approaching my spot, I think about Googling him, and I summon up the panic and the terror, and I also think about my own father's drunk driving accidents that were hidden from me as a child, and I take off, and I run as fast and as far as my 59-year-old body will let me. I am running fast now, out of Massachusetts. I am running away from danger, helplessness, memory, fear. Something about the running and the breathing required to sustain it releases the panic. And all of a sudden, I kind of feel like I'm soaring, and I feel even a little bit happy. I don't know, maybe it was now that my brain's mission is being fulfilled, it can stand down. But it doesn't really matter, because I realized that by honoring the impulse to run, it became a choice, not just a survival brain command that I resisted but felt utterly overtaken by. Running allowed those feelings to move through and out of me, releasing, at least for a moment, some of those painful binds of the past. Fear transformed into a little bit of joy when I chose to run fast now. Thank you.